Welcome back. U.S. forces shot down an Iranian drone approaching the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea near Iran yesterday. The U.S. Central Command writing this on X. The Iranian drone continued to fly toward the ship despite de-escalatory measures taken by U.S. forces operating in international waters. An F-35C fighter jet from Abraham Lincoln shot down the Iranian drone in self-defense to protect the aircraft carrier and the personnel on board. This coming just days before Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are set to meet with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on Friday. Here's the president at the White House yesterday.
On Iran, are the negotiations still happening this week?
Yeah.
Where will they be? And what do you need to hear from Iran?
Roll over. But they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Joining me now is the Heritage Foundation Vice President of National Security, and she is former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump. Victoria Coates back with me. Victoria, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What is your reaction to the U.S. Taking down that drone?
Well, it's a little bit like shooting a mosquito with a machine gun, Maria. An F-35 against a Shahad drone isn't really a fair fight. But the Iranians apparently learned nothing from the 12-day war in June, that they're essentially defenseless against the kind of capabilities that President Trump has built up in the Persian Gulf. And so he has a ton of leverage going into these negotiations. I never object to having a conversation with someone. I don't know how much of a decision maker Araghchi is in reality, if he can make the kind of meaningful concessions that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be looking for. But if he can, on the nuclear program, on the missiles, on the regional proxies, the terrorist groups, if he can do that, then maybe we do have a shot at a real deal, not something like the failed Obama-era nuclear deal.
But, I mean, Victoria, I don't understand. I mean, what are we negotiating? This regime has done heinous crimes, right? We're hearing reports of tens of thousands of people killed, protesters killed in their efforts to just crush dissent.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what happened in January in Iran is just reprehensible. And the fact that we're not even hearing a peep out of groups like the United Nations, who are so eager to condemn Israel over their claimed genocide in Gaza, and that not a word about what happened in Iran. These are the people who should be shouting from the rooftops. And I think the president has been very supportive of the protesters. Obviously, we'd all like to see a beneficial change in Iran, but his bottom line has always been the nuclear program. That's what is an existential threat to the American people. And so if he can truly dismantle that, that would be a great first step. And what that will do then for the protesters is weaken the regime. They will have given up their sort of crown jewels, if you will, which have always been their ambitions for a nuclear weapon.
Let me move on to China, Victoria, and this military purge that apparently has occurred at the hands of Xi Jinping. We're all questioning really what's behind this and why Xi Jinping is taking out his leaders in the military. I was under the impression that he wasn't even in charge of the military anymore. After a couple of years ago, they took him out of that position after a mini stroke that he had. What's your take?
Well, I mean, this shows a lot of sort of discord in the upper ranks of the CCP. This does not make me in any way unhappy that they're not getting along. And General Zhang, the one who was purged, it's an interesting case. His father and Xi's father served together, so they've known each other for many, many years. And the rumors are that the generals were not being forward-leaning enough on Taiwan, that Xi has said he wants to be ready to move against Taiwan next year. That's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
Taiwan is actually really investing in their defenses seriously now. We are supporting them. They're making that much, much more difficult. And I think Xi felt that General Zhang just wasn't being aggressive enough, and he took him out. So we'll see what happens.
And I love the story that we talked about on Sunday in terms of the Panama Canal. The Supreme Court of Panama annulled a contract for the Hong Kong company CK Hutchinson to operate the two ports at the Panama Canal, at either end of the Panama Canal, handing President Trump a pretty good victory for his security ambitions. China's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office claimed the ruling is, quote, absurd, shameful, and pathetic. And they are vowing to defend the interests of China and these Chinese companies who are running those ports. But the Panama Supreme Court called it unconstitutional. Your reaction?
Well, I'm sure the CCP does think the rule of law is absurd.
Yeah.
That's something they don't pay a great deal of attention to. But there's no appeal here. This is the Supreme Court of Panama. They can't do anything about it. And there's another element to this, Maria. Neighboring Bolivia, President La Paz, their new president, who's finally taking that country away from communism, is just canceled a zinc processing plant contract for $350 million with China. So this is really beginning to happen.
Wow, really interesting stuff. We know that when President Trump visited there, all the signs were in Chinese, so China was truly dominating and trying to dominate that port area, right?
Mm-hmm. No, and that's where all the trade happens. So it's enormously important they could disable the canal. Yeah.
Victoria, it's great to have you as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, Victoria Coates. Stay with us. We'll be right back.